Hi guys, we are students of Scalar School of Business, and we have Akshith, Aashish, and Hariz with us. So this is the roundtable discussion about startups from Vijayco experiences, and we'll be conversating regarding the startups in these people's minds and how they see starting up from college look like. So we can be free in a way, like it's just a conversation as such. So I just want to understand how hard is to start up from college in a way as an MBA student. Because okay, one more thing, Ashish is a startup founder. He runs his own company and is a successful startup like entrepreneur from our cohort, and many people look up to him. So we'll just start from him only.
I mean, MBA is honestly my experience is a very perfect juncture for you to experiment a lot, pivot into whatever you want in terms of career. And one of the greatest option out of that pivoting options would be startups, right? And why MBA is the right place for startups? My suggestion around that would be key that 1.5 years or 2 years is where you're dwelling yourself into entirety of the business learning. And what is a better way of learning than doing, right? So believing in that format, I think MBA should be the right place to kickstart your entrepreneurial journey. Because at least most of the hurdles usually comes, the highest hurdles comes in the initial stage, because the founder is clueless what to do, whom to approach, how to figure out things. And when you have an ecosystem that is ready to help you, I think that becomes a great launchpad like platform for you to start up. So that's my perspective.
So could you just walk us through your journey as an entrepreneur?
I think mine was quite different. So basically, I started up during my engineering college days, where during the first year we had a lot of passion towards participating in these robotics competitions, conducted by IITs and NITs of India, and we used to secure a lot of prize going there. We made good enough money, prize money out of it, and then gradually we ended up deciding to start training students on how to build robots, how to figure out technology and all that. And once we started training engineering students, we gradually moved to the school segment, and that's when we realized that this is where we find a real joy in teaching young minds to explore technology. That was the eureka moment for us. And the next moment for us was realizing that there is no proper tool for a school child to explore and puddle with technology, right? So that's when the entire dream kit came into existence, where we wanted to build a tool that will help any student, any young mind of say even a 8-year-old child to kickstart their journey of exploring electronics, circuitry, coding, anything technology in as fast as 2 to 3 minutes of time. So that's what we started chasing. And today, gradually evolving towards, I think it's around 6 to 7 years of running this company, DreamKit. I think we are now having a beautiful format of changing the way the toys are, where we are trying to tell that what, instead of buying a regular toys, buy DreamKit, where you can actually experience how toys are to be built from scratch, and also how do they function and work inside them, right? In terms, it could be the electronics, it could be the mechanics of it. So the child is able to explore all this behind the screen part of a toy, while having the same fun of playfulness in it.
So coming to Akshit, what is your view regarding like starting up from college? You're working on your hustle idea, like AI video generation stuff. So and also you have that fancy term AI in your startup also.
Yeah. So the thing I would say is like it's hard to get an ideal team actually. So everyone is coming from diverse background, and it's first of all it's hard for us to come up with a particular idea. And usually, what I have seen in startups and whatever is happening, it's not like a forceful thing. Like someone should come up with some idea. I mean, it just happens naturally. Like you experience so many things, and over the time you come up with an idea which you related to yourself. Then slowly you find the ecosystem or the people who is suitable for that particular product or particular thing, and it takes a lot of time. But starting in MBA, it can be a good place wherein like you can try to figure out yourself, one person or two people maximum. Then maybe few people, like let's say over 1 or 2 years, let's say you're making like you're getting a better hang of the thought what you're getting and more validation. Then you can find out people from your cohort actually who are really good at it. They can be a right fit. That comes again with they showing interest, but we know whom to approach. So that would be my thought. And coming to this, like having 6 people in a team, it's not really that practical, is what I think.
So that's what being an entrepreneur or like building a startup, it's personal choice, right? Like if they're really into that, if they're really put to like to
exactly.
They should put 100% work over, and then only they can succeed.
So not everyone will have the same motivation.
True. And Scalar, like we have hustle program, everybody's working on that, and that's the one thing I have seen, like hustle also. We want to form our team and work on those things, but many of everybody in a team won't be interested in starting. It's not their problem. It's not anyone's problem. But as a scaler, they're helping us to experience these steps. I just want to. It's an open question. Anybody can answer. As an entrepreneur, we come up with a lot of struggles. That resilience matters every day, every moment, right? So, what are you guys trying to build from these 2 years? Like, you guys are working on hustle idea that I know, but as a student, what are you trying to focus on? The one skill, if you can say. To come, like, you're going out to that world. It's not easy as it is. So, you're really working on that. What would be that? It's an open question.
I think for me, one word that I'm really obsessed in terms of as a skill that I would want to build here, especially after joining Scalar School of Business, what I've figured out is the structured problem solving. Right? Problem solving is the buzzword all around in the entire industry. But after coming here, I realized how structured thinking is actually helping you come up with solutions for a problem in a much better way, and understand why these solutions has to work. Right. So that format of thinking is what I'm trying to build in myself. Right. I think that would be my answer.
So one more thing I would like to say is, like, let's say we have an idea, so we think it's really great one and it is so practical, like, but we get to speak with the VC, like I mean Siddhant and people of those sort, like they'll try to give us more idea, like what is the practicality of that idea. I mean, because usually what happens is, let's say Dreamkit, when they started, I don't think anyone actually stopped you from saying it's not practical, or no one was there. So you found out the ways, you found out your path where the revenue comes in, things of that sort. But when we say about any idea, that can be a boon or a win, because one thing is, like, if we start, we end up figuring out routes, because that is something we were really passionate about. But one more boon is, like, as you know, like this place is really good for you to say, like, if you want to make a good revenue, let's say 1 or 2 years, what business idea to pick up.
So that's a
end of the day, it is completely dependent on execution, but they'll really guide us. Is this a good market to be a part of?
True. I can relate to that, because that was the motto behind me as well. Like, to start with Zamka. This is the place I have a cushion, right? Like I can lose here. Like I can I can have setbacks here. Like after going to the real world, I'll be having little expense for that, right? If I'm starting out. So this is the time I'm learning. Like I have all the resources, and even if I'm losing, even if I'm not winning, then I have a place to go. I have a place to people to mentor me, like all of you guys and Adiraj also. So yeah, what is your?
So one thing I really want to take away from college is, so see, I resonate with both of them, right? One is of course structured problem solving, and also getting the right mentors. I also want to learn how to really work in high pressure situations, right? Let's say we have assignments literally throughout the month, throughout the year, and to be able to work on each one of them and give you 100% to each one of them, meet the deadlines and get good quality output. it's not easy. I know people that we've all been through it. We know how crazy we go towards the end of each and every assignment, and that is something that I'm learning here. And I'm hoping to build that muscle as well. Just to have a good presence of mind, even during really tough situations. Yeah.
So again, it's an open question. What will be the playbook as such if a person, 22-year-old, want to start up? As a people, as a students who are starting up from an organized setup which is inside scale or hustle product. If a person doesn't have anything like that, or what would be the playbook for a 22-year-old who just passed out from the college? Because you might be able to answer much better.
So I have evolved so much and I might have answered. But if anybody would ask me, this would be my upright answer for that is first of all, not everybody has to become entrepreneurs, right? Even if you're working in a company, the core of problem solving, the core of building something that's the spirit of entrepreneurship, and there is a word for it that also called intrapreneur, right? Where you're building something within a company as such. So that being said, for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, my first thought of process would be, how do you validate your problem first, right? Because most of us are those people who would right away start giving solutions and all that stuff. But that's a muscle I'm also trying to build. How do I really look at the problem as a whole, right? And understand each dimension of the problem and really understand what is the root 3 or 4 reasons that that is making this problem exist. Right? It could be, for example, imagine we are trying to build something for dogs in our hustle program. So, what are those 2 or 3 features that a pet parent is really concerned about? Is it really the sleep cycle of a dog? Is it really the activity of the dog? Not really, right? It's most of one of the major factors is how do they tackle the anxious feeling that they get as soon as the dog is low in energy. This is the most important problem, is what we realized after talking to at least 20-30 pet parents and being one of the pet parent myself. So I think one of the core first, I can't say this is an entire playbook, but one of the first step you always have to tell yourself into is understand the problem as clear as possible. Spend enough time in that. I think that will help you come up with better solutions.
So you are against jump first and think later concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do enough research.
I wouldn't say research, at least run your brains through it. Right? I'm not telling open ChatGPT or Perplexity and figure out what's happening in the problem, because that's not your brain working. But understand it from your perspective, right? I'm a creative person. I look at things in a very different dimension altogether. So understand from your perspective, that will open a lot of better solutions altogether. Then you can use the outside world of other people, like he said, mentors and all that. Then it makes sense to approach there. That should be the first step, is my assumption.
So one thing I would say is, like, let's say before joining Scalar, I had some plans or some ideas. Let's say it might work as a startup or something. But the thing is, like, what I did work on was mostly like documenting. Okay. What I'm thinking today is not the same as what I'm thinking tomorrow.
You didn't put in that.
It should be on a document, so that whenever you're putting the next thing you're looking for, you'll get excited about the problem and you'll just start thinking about some features rather than focusing on the problem and validating it. Because that's what you observe. It's not the common thing. So first of all, you should document it. Whatever you're thinking, thoughts should be documented. And that is mainly because not just for you to build upon it tomorrow or day after. It's like how you can express it with others. So let's say I had a particular idea and I was not instrumental in expressing it, because the first reason being, it was not documented. So when we had that hustle, what was the Fonda Mixer program? Fonda Mixer program. I thought that would be the idea which people will be excited about. But the basic thing was, I was not able to make people understand what I was actually thinking of. Okay. Because you would be, like, everyone here is coming from different backgrounds. So I would expect everyone having the same mindset or thought process as I do, coming from the background where I am. So that is really needed. Like, whatever you do, any layman should be able to understand what you're trying to say.
It should be understood.
Yeah, it should be relatable. I think any problem you solve in the world, like at least you can find easily, like at least 50% of the people can relate to what you're trying to solve if you put it across in the proper sense. Not everyone needs to face all the problems, but at least I think you can find 50% of people.
Communicating your idea properly is the
I
big
mean,
aspect.
that is really needed.
What was the question?
So it's like
The 20-year-old founder.
22-year-old.
22-year-old founder.
What is the
playbook that you would give for kids starting on
You should focus on. So, I would say just if you're 22, right? You're early on in your 20s. You still have a lot of time, a lot of things that you do, right? Let's say you're 22, just passed out of college, or you're still in college. It's the right time to experiment on different things. Be scrappy. Just go out and do things instead of just sitting and ideating a lot. And also, just don't blindly, like what Aashish said, don't blindly go about things. Have some logic to it, but keep executing. Like you're like the prime example of what you should be doing, what should not be doing.
Exactly.
Right? Just find little things that you could solve and go ahead and solve it and see what traction you could get. And with that, you either know whether to expand. Or at the end of the day, you still have a lot of learnings, right? And that will help you in tackling differences.
I think I really resonate with what he's saying, right? For example, for us, before starting DreamKit as a product company and a training company, we started having these small, we used to train like 40, 50 engineering students and, we used to, help them. So when, including participating in competitions and all that, right? It was more like a cheat business for us itself, where once we got the taste of money, right, you start figuring out a lot of things in a better way, right? So once you crack that first customer, once you crack that first revenue, it could be in any way, like it would any scrap or any jugaadish way that you can crack. I think opens up a lot of clarity on how can you make better businesses.
And one more thing to add on. So, like, there were many things like going around. Like, people are not ready to express their ideas, saying that it may be copied. That is not something to deal with. It's like you should just express and get validation rather than you thinking that someone would copy. Because without knowing what people are really looking for, you think your idea is really unique. Doesn't make sense.
I think that's the biggest myth, right? As a 22-year-old, share all your wild ideas to everybody in the planet possible.
get blasted enough.
Yeah, get blasted enough that it's the most shittiest idea. The more shittier the idea is, I'm sure you will get the most crazy about it and try and build that thing. Or at least you'll have a realization that why is it a shitty idea at the end of the day. I'm sorry for my language, but otherwise also, right? People are generally busy in life. It's only a smallest of the small segment that might be there. I'm sure they can't tell that they don't exist, but it's a very small number of people who would end up copying that idea altogether. So if you're scared about that small segment, and if you're not getting if you're not putting energy to validate that idea, I think talking to people is the easiest validation you can get.
And I want to add on to that, right? It's also about people copying that idea. And see, if you came up with a problem and you came up with a solution to that problem, you would maybe able to resonate with that problem much better than anybody, right?
Yeah.
And you should trust yourself that you would build the best version of the solution.
True.
And not worry about being copied, because it's coming from your own experiences. So, yeah.
So one last question. Since we completed almost 6 months of scalar journey, and we did a lot of stuff. What will be your plans or goals for the next maybe 4-5 months? What are you guys working on? We have hustle programs, all those. Apart from that,
Am I only starting?
everybody can start with
Oldest two.
How old?
Serious first.
Okay.
For me, it is like after coming here, I realized that I'm passionate about marketing, and that is something that I'm really excited. That gets me excited.
One question: What was your role in DreamKit?
CEO.
CEO.
I was the
So
janitor.
it's like a generalist.
I was the janitor there. I was the one who was sweeping, mopping, and also signing the checks. So A to Z was there. But yeah, my team also has been contributing. I can't deny without them I have been nothing. For me, right now, for the next 6 to 1 year of time at Scalar would be mostly getting more and more experiences around marketing most importantly, but also other dimensions of business. Because if I'm stepping towards the journey of building a larger business, obviously one particular core topic wouldn't suffice, right? So experiencing all the dimension of business while building a core, say in marketing, is what I have figured out is something that I'm chasing. So it could be the internship that I'm working on now, the internship that I'm planning to get in the next 3 to 4 months, and also the people that I'm trying to connect with and understanding their perspective about how they look at markets, how they try to communicate with their consumers, how they try to engage with their consumers. So for me, it's more than marketing. I know it's a word that's in this thing. I want to understand how a company or a product interacts with the consumer and how each of them fall in love with each other, right? So that's something that I'm here to explore. Yeah.
So what is your plans and goals for next 6 months?
I mean, it's going to be, again, like I mentioned before, it's going to be my placements, which I have to take care of. I think that's the most tangible outcome out of Scalar that one is aiming for. And I have to work on my resume, my interview prep, and also fill my gaps in my resume, whatever is left. And make the most of the remaining 4 months. I don't know if we get this time back, right, where we could just loaf around carelessly. So that's what I'm looking to do.
For me also it's the same, the placements. That was the main outcome. Then actually I would like to, let's say, as I mentioned earlier, I was looking for some idea, business ideas, things of that sort. Let's see, maybe after Scalar, the learnings, there are a lot of learnings which happen, and try to figure out if something can be implemented, if all the frameworks, whatever it is, does it make sense to that business, or does that business make sense here, all those things. And hopefully getting a good placement. Need to work a lot on my resume though, but
So we can conclude this session. Thank you so much for taking out your time.
Thank you for inviting. Thank you. I think this was super fun.
Yeah, we should do this.
We should do this.
more
You feel happy now? You want to talk about your case study problem statement now?
we can actually
You'll get more clarity. You'll get more